Have you ever been warned against starting an office-based romance? Well, if you haven't, let me do that for you. And let me use this band as an example. My name's Jess, and this is the Spilt Tea Room. We're currently covering the story of Fleetwood Mac. This is episode 2. If you've not seen episode 1, go back and watch that, which covers their early years, the time they nearly accidentally fell into a cult, and the great imposter scandal. Then come back and catch up because now we're getting into the juicy bits. We're getting into the Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham era. Where we left off last time, Stevie and Lindsey had just joined the band, okay? Mick had gone out shopping for a new guitarist, found Lindsey, only wanted Lindsey, and Lindsey was like, absolutely not without my main girl. So Mick let them both join the band, and that's what gets us to the Rumours 5. The people that are going to take this forward, the ones that we really are here to see. Let's catch up on who's who and what's what. So Mick Fleetwood, he's on drums. He's got a bit of a crazy look in his eyes, but that's just Mick. That's him on any given day, okay? Just go with it. And you've got John McVie. He's got all the emotional range of a flannel. So he's in the background over on bass. We're just going to leave him where he is. He's happy. He causes no one real drama, other than our next character, which is Christine McVie, aka Christine Perfect, which I'd rather call her, but for the point of this story, we'll just call her by her married name. So Christine's elegant, she's unbothered, and she's essentially a passive-aggressive queen, and I love that for her, okay? She's going to be the glue that holds us together through a lot of these next few years, okay? Lindsey Buckingham, guitar genius, okay? I'll give him that, all right? The man knows how to pluck a string, I'll give him that, all right? But unfortunately, he's also got a bit of main character syndrome, which becomes kind of a problem when we get to our next character, which is Stevie Nicks, because she is, in fact, the main character. The girl pulls focus. She's iconic, and she really is a big deal. After getting over their whole imposter scandal and finally reclaiming the name of Fleetwood Mac for themselves, they released a new album. And I don't know if it was because of the imposter scandal that they kind of had to just cement to people exactly who they are, but they called this album Fleetwood Mac. Like, I get it. It feels a bit of a snide dig at their ex-manager, but I absolutely get it. And this album, let's just get down to it, was an absolute sensation, okay? It's got some of their best songs on it. You've got Rhiannon, you've got my personal favourite, Landslide. Then you've got songs like Over My Head and Say That You Love Me, which really should give us a flavour of the level of petty this band's about to go into. So the song Say You Love Me is written by Christine, and essentially it's her writing about John McVie. The ironic thing is, she's actively avoiding that man in real life. Like, she doesn't want to be in a room with this guy right now. She cannot stand the sight nor smell of him. So it seems almost ironic that she's writing this song knowing he's going to have to play the bass. So when we look at who probably started the Snyder sides, but we're also not going to forget some of the other songs that I've just mentioned. Landslide, I've heard numerous different versions of what this is about. And it's really hard to verify which one is actually correct because they've come from all members of the band, all members of like their inner circle and people around them. I've heard versions where Landslide is by Stevie Nicks and it's a song about her dad for her and about growing older and having to accept when your children move away from you. And I've also heard about how it's written by Lindsey and is essentially him poking fun at Stevie's desperation for him to love her. The most verifiable versions that I can get of any source tell me it's the former, but I wouldn't put it past it being the latter either. But the audience doesn't care, okay? Their general public is like, oh my God, this band is just amazingly talented. And I don't know if it was the fact that these songs are written from such perspectives of such anger and raw emotion. That is why they were so much more popular maybe than some of their earlier stuff. Like, this is coming from real experiences and real feelings that are really hard to imitate. And it must have been a slightly different sound from a lot of what was going on at that time. So I think that was probably what elevated this album just slightly above them and probably lays the groundwork for some success they're about to have. But the band itself is at a point where if reality TV had really been a thing back in the 70s, they would have been on there. There would have been some kind of therapy session with Dr. Phil where they really needed to get to the roots of their problems because they were not getting along. Like, relationships were breaking down hard and fast at every point. Stevie and Lindsey are like arguing in the studio every single day. There's crying, there's things being thrown. At one point, Stevie screams at Lindsey that he's an egomaniac and she can't stand him. And was she wrong? But he retorts with the fact she's flaky and dramatic. And then be fighting words, Lindsey, because I would have cursed you then and there. But their relationship is over. They are done with each other completely. Don't want to be near each other. Then we've got Christine and John, also done. These two are actually married though, so that's slightly more dramatic. It's no secret that John is a bit of a heavy drinker. There's a lot of distance between them. There's a lot of silent dinners, those kind of like end of a marriage kind of moments. This is the most grown-up breakup that's ever happened in this group. But there's also some pettiness. Christine won't even be in the same vehicle. as John at this point, which is kind of hard when you're a touring band going around the country. That makes for a slightly different budget. But Christine, as I said, though she may be the calm centre of the group, she's not without her pettiness. So she starts actually dating a member of the crew. She dates the lighting director, Curry Grant. As rebounds go, that's pretty iconic. That is making sure that you don't just do it, you do it in their face as painfully as possible. And you know what? It's a little bit cruel, but you know, what are you going to do? I remember what she was going to do. She writes You Make Loving Fun, which is about her new boyfriend. Then makes John play the bass. You ever watch Christine singing this song? Like back in those days, she is so chill as she's doing it. The smile on her face says she knows exactly what she's doing. And I'm sure John, at every point in his inner soul, is trying to just be the bigger person. So fair play to him for that, because I'm not sure I would have been able to do that. And then there's Mick, who is literally just back into his cycle of trying to keep this band together because they are 2 seconds away from breaking up again. And this man has invested too much at this point. But he's still managing to find time to cheat on his current wife, which, if we remember from our last part, has already cheated on him. So as much as it is a bit crappy what Mick's doing, and an eye for an eye just leaves the whole world blind, I can kind of understand where he got that kind of feeling and sentiment from. And as we get further into this series, we'll find out that he really does like to bring it closer to home when it comes to who he's going to have an affair with. But that's for a later part, guys. The Fleetwood Mac album, Fleetwood Mac, a raging success. They're on the international stage. They have officially broke America, okay? People are loving their vibe, they're loving their sound, and they really want to hear more of it. So what do they need to do? They're going to have to follow this up with another great album. But like we've just covered, they don't want to be in the same room with each other. What are we going to do? We're going to lock ourselves in a room to write that follow-up album. We might have to remove some sharp objects. We may have to bring in a counsellor and bodyguard at every point for every session, but we're going to do this and we're going to be great, guys. They lock themselves in the record plant in California. At this point, they don't know what the album's actually going to be called. They just know they're going to smash out some songs and really get in there and just make this second album great. This is like an emotional monster truck derby, okay? You're going to have to watch out for flying guitars and the occasional spiteful word, okay? Just be prepared to go in there and see a little bit of bloodshed, all right? Metaphorically speaking, I think. So everyone's heartbroken. Everyone is also on some of those festival candies that we spoke about earlier, all right? At no point during the 70s and 80s years did anything this band, or any band of this era really, write in any kind of state of complete sobriety. We always need to make sure that we understand that when we talk about what was happening during this period and the general vibe that was going on. Because I do think that we are in a position and a place as a society now where we seem to look at anyone in the modern day music industry who partakes in those kind of things as really frowned upon. And there are so many harmful things that can happen from it and some of the terrible behaviours that happen around it. But let's not pretend this is new or that some of the music we truly love hasn't had this at play in the background the entire music industry's life. And when I say the entire music industry, I mean Beethoven and beyond, babe, okay? Because there has never been a time where the music industry isn't at the forefront of the party industry. That's what I'm going to say. So let's run through some of the songs that are actually on the Rumours album and go through in order exactly what each of them is actually about, just so we get a flavour of just how much this album was just them arguing with each other. Go your own way. This is Lindsay's diss track to Stevie. Think about some of the words. Packing up, shacking up, that's all you want to do. When Stevie hears that, she's like, excuse you? Absolutely not. She in fact asks him to cut the line from the song and he flat out refuses. The song Dreams, that's Stevie's clap back to Lindsay. It's poetic, it's floaty, it's quite devastating. The guitar part of this, if you actually listen to it, you can actually feel Lindsay wanting to scream the entire time that he's recording it. I don't think he makes eye contact with Stevie through any of those recordings. Don't stop. Christine telling John to get the heck over their relationship. It's done for. Go smile some more, babe. It's not that deep, all right? You're not as brooding and as interesting as you think you are. Get over it. Oh, Daddy? That was written by Mick. Why? Let's just say Christine is very observant. That's all I'm going to say on that one. And all of these songs are being written with virtually no sleep. These are sleep-deprived, angry, heartbroken people. I don't think their blood alcohol level ever dipped to near to zero. And I imagine by the end of it, they used to have to like blunt down the guitar picks before someone got shanked. So the Rumours album drops in 1977. We've gone through some of the most popular songs on the Rumours album. We could go through all of them, and I'm happy to do a deep dive on that separately. However, one song we have to cover because it is the inspiration to so many viral moments on TikTok is the song Silver Springs. Okay, Silver Springs is one of Mick Fleetwood's least favourite songs that was written for the Rumours album. Stevie had to really fight to get him to even put it on the album, and it went on to the B side of the album. There is so much drama behind that going into further years. But for now, let's just say Mick didn't like it. It was relegated to the B side of the album, and it really was lucky to get on there, to be honest. And Stevie has always advocated for that album. Bear those three things in mind because they will become relevant later on. So the album's done, it's edited, and it's ready to go out to the world. The Rumours album drops in 1977 and explodes straight away, okay? 10 million copies sold, numerous Grammy wins. It is one of the top selling albums of all time. Granted, in the first year, no one knows that, but it is, even for its day, a very popular album. It wins Grammy Album of the Year, okay? When you think where this band was just 4 years ago to where they are now, to win Album of the Year, if you ever want to believe that fate is a real thing and things happen for a reason, let this band be your example that that is a thing. And the world's looking at them and going, oh my God, what a harmonious group of legends. These guys just really get it. They are so in sync with each other. The band, however, is crying in the bathroom between takes, okay, refusing to go on, refusing to talk to each other or stand at least 10 feet apart at all times. They're on magazine covers, they're playing major stadiums, they are swimming in cash, but emotionally, they're holding it together by a thread. I'm pretty sure through the most of the late 70s, it was glitter and glue that was holding them together because it wasn't love and care. Christine's still avoiding John, Stevie's avoiding Lindsay, and Mick's avoiding all accountability. And somehow it's working, okay? The band is just staying together. How? Oh God, I fell out with someone at work like a week ago, and I have got nothing done. And if you sit there thinking, okay, you've covered the Rumours album, this is like the most dramatic thing Fleetwood Mac ever did. Everyone knows Rumours, it's a really dramatic time, it can't get any worse. We haven't covered the Tusk era yet. It just keeps getting worse, guys. It gets more dramatic, it gets more heartbreaking, and it gets more cruel, okay? Because this band gets older, wiser, and much more vicious. So in part 3, we're going to cover some very sneaky affairs, a double album that nearly sends them bankrupt, Lindsay going slightly feral in a studio, and the beginning of the solo era, and the absolute chaos that ensued. Fleetwood Mac essentially is rich, famous, and falling apart in slow motion. This band has been around for 60 years. So follow, like, and hit the save button, and I'll see you in part 3.